I'm Tamara, and this is TELUS Talks with Tamara Taggart. We're bringing together experts, thinkers, and leaders, busting myths, sharing stories, and staying connected when Canadians need it the most. We're having unexpected conversations for unprecedented times. Hi, everyone. Today's guest is Patrick O'Rourke from Mobile Syrup. We all know how important it is to wash our hands and avoid touching our face, but what about our smartphones? Patrick is a technology analyst and managing editor at Mobile Syrup. It's Canada's largest independent tech news source. Patrick's in Toronto. I'm in Vancouver. It's amazing what we can do nowadays, Patrick. Why don't we start by maybe explaining to people who don't know what Mobile Syrup is, what you guys do there?
Sure. We're a technology blog. We review smartphones, we review tablets, we review laptops. We also cover the carriers pretty heavily as well. I always describe us sort of like the Canadian version of The Verge or Engadget. We just cover all those technology topics that those websites do in the US, but with a Canadian focus and a Canadian perspective.
Excellent. Okay, so we know that our phones are dirty. They're probably dirtier than most of us realize. So what do we need to consider when washing our phones thoroughly? And, I guess it's a lot like our hands, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think some people don't realize how much they're touching their phone over the course of a day. Like in some cases, people are picking up their phone hundreds upon hundreds of times, right? So if we're washing our hands all the time, we should also be washing our phone because our phone is touching our hands. There's a variety of different approaches that you can take to cleaning your phone. I think that the sort of tried and true best method is to just use alcohol that's between 60 and 70%, whether that's a wipe or a Clorox wipe, or even putting just like rubbing alcohol on a paper towel or something like that and wiping your phone down at least a couple times a day.
Okay. So, can our phones be dangerous in the way of bacteria?
They can definitely carry bacteria. There's some data suggests that phones can carry more bacteria than a toilet seat, which is kind of scary. So, amid this current pandemic that we're going through, it's definitely something to consider seriously.
Yeah. And do you think, what do you think the percentage is of people that take their phone into the bathroom with them?
I would think that it's pretty high, probably close to 90% or something like that. But I'm sure a lot of people aren't going to publicly admit that, right? But I'm certain it's pretty high.
Yeah, I think it is too. So we wash our hands. We even know we've been told during this health crisis, even at home, not leaving the house or whatever, just washing your hands still every 20 minutes. You're saying that taking care of our smartphone maybe twice a day is good enough? Do you think, or I guess if you're leaving the house, it would be more?
Yeah, I've probably cleaned it once a day, but there's been a few instances where my partner and I have had to go out and pick up groceries from the store, right? So I'm outside, I'm touching handles of grocery bags, I'm opening the door of my car. What I've sort of been doing is cleaning it when I get home, and then sometimes once I also get inside the car just to be safe.
Right. Okay. So should we be concerned that our phones might carry COVID-19?
Well, I think there's a lot of information out there regarding like how long the virus can last on different materials. I've sort of been referring people to the Government of Canada's website for the most accurate, up-to-date information on that.
That's
subject.
Good advice. Yeah.
But we know that bacteria and viruses and stuff can get on different surfaces. So I don't see why our phone should be an exception to that rule, if that makes sense. If we're cleaning common surfaces, in some ways, the phone is the most common surface for the individual. So it makes sense to just be cleaning it as frequently as you see fit.
And okay, so I haven't cleaned my phone once, I don't think, maybe just the screen of it. So if, I might wipe down the screen, but if I'm washing my hands all the time, isn't that good enough?
Yeah, I think that definitely helps, but there's also the possibility of placing your phone on a surface that might have COVID-19 on it. So say you come home, as an example, you put some grocery bags down on the ground. Maybe that grocery bag had COVID-19 on it. Then you touch your table and you put your phone down on that table. Then your phone now has it on it. So, it's just like an additional precaution that you can take to better
Right.
protect yourself. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So do all the big phone and tech companies agree on the best way to clean our devices?
So they don't, as they often don't about certain things. Different companies are saying different things. For example, Samsung says not to use paper towel on their S series devices because it could scratch the screen. I've been using paper towel to clean smartphones and tablets and computer screens for years, and I've never encountered an issue. I think that you're safe to use alcohol between 60 and 70%, whether it's a wipe, whether it's on a paper towel, whether it's on like a soft terry cloth or even like a cloth specialized for cleaning screens. And you're not going to run into any issues, and your phone screen's going to be fine. There's not going to be any perceivable damage to it or scratches.
Okay. And what about, Apple and all of them? What are they saying?
So Apple initially, before all of this happened, said that you shouldn't use alcohol to clean your Apple devices, whether it's an iPad or a phone. And they kind of changed their tune once this outbreak happened, saying that it is fine, which is a little interesting in itself. But I mean, again, like you're safe to clean it as long as you're sticking to those types of cleaning materials. Like you don't want to use bleach or something on a phone.
I was just going to ask you if I could use bleach. No?
Definitely don't use bleach. That's probably going to damage the device. And I mean, this extends to a laptop, right? Like I use my laptop all day. If you want to wipe down the keyboard, that's probably a good option as well. And if you're just using 60 to 70% alcohol, that's going to be fine as well.
Okay, so every time I wash, an iPad or something like that with the kids around, I have just been I use a baby wipe, or I use like a glass cleaner. Not good enough?
So I think you'd have to look at the baby wipe and the glass cleaner.
There's no alcohol in a baby wipe.
So the baby wipe, you're definitely not.
I think I'm just mushing all the bacteria around. Yikes.
Glass cleaner sometimes does have a level of alcohol content in it. That's what I typically use to clean my devices. But it often doesn't indicate how much alcohol content is in it. So you really don't know. It could be like 25 or 30%, which per what the World Health Organization is saying isn't the level that it needs to be to destroy bacteria and viruses.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we're learning new things every day as the days go on, and we're gathering more information about COVID-19. So when you look at all the things that are available right now, I've been seeing a lot of ads popping up when I'm scrolling Instagram for these UV things that you put your phone in. Of course, the one I saw was really pretty looking, and I was attracted to it immediately and wanted to buy it. But they're expensive. Do they work?
They're really expensive. I mean, we've written about them a couple of times. We're not scientists at Mobile Syrup, but they seem to work. There's also there was Samsung at one point was offering like free UV servicing at its stores before the stores closed. There's companies that even sell like screen protectors that are supposed to protect from bad bacteria and things like that. I don't really know how well those accessories work. I think the best and most cost-effective way is to just use like alcohol wipes. That's what I've been using. Is the same wipes that you would use to clean your skin before an injection or something like that.
The problem with that is that you can't find that stuff anymore. So if you don't already have it in your house and you tried, nobody can find any of the, the Lysol wipes or cleaning supplies are basically gone at every store we've been to. So it's a big challenge for people trying to find that. And especially my concern is that if we all go out and buy those little alcohol wipes, I know the exact ones you're talking about. That's people need those for medical reasons, and if we, you know what I mean, and we all start buying them because we need them for our smartphones. So I think you can even get the bottle of alcohol and maybe dilute it a bit too.
Yeah, I think the last time that I was at a pharmacy, there's still quite a few bottles. This is just anecdotal, but there's still quite a few bottles of 70% alcohol on the shelves. So, I mean, that's probably a good workaround for the fact that Clorox is really difficult to find right now, Clorox wipes, and that we don't really need to be using those injection wipes for phones. They're for other purposes, obviously.
Okay, so tell me about Phone Soap. What is this app or this company, Phone Soap?
So I don't know a ton about it, but they sell UV filters. We actually wrote about one on Mobile Syrup. I think we included it in a gift guide. It was this very, very large device that you could slot multiple phones in, and it claims to use UV to get rid of any bacteria on devices. They also sell a smaller one that I think is in the range of like $70 to $100 or something like that. I don't really know how well they work. I think the company's been around for a couple of years, so they're obviously doing somewhat well, and they've had a big marketing push recently related to COVID-19
Right, I'm sure.
stuff. But I would tend to lean on the side of avoiding devices like that, if ever possible, just because we don't know how effective they are, and just wiping down your device, I think it's just easier to do, and it's more accessible to the average Canadian.
And I guess we should keep in mind that we should also be wiping down our phone cases, our smartphone cases.
Yeah, that's something else to keep in mind. I mean, I keep all my phones in cases. When I'm wiping down my phone, I often take out the phone from the case, because what if some kind of bacteria gets inside the case and it's sitting under the phone, and I only clean the outside and not the inside? It kind of defeats the purpose. So I think that's something else that's definitely important to keep in mind.
Right. Okay. And so when we look at the future of cleaning our phones, do you think that we will see people, cleaning their phones more as we move forward and we understand just how much bacteria we come in contact with? And, I know that with hand washing and being told to not touch our faces, so many of us are aware now of, how we shouldn't just be washing our hands after we use the washroom. We should be washing our hands all the time and not touching our faces and all of that. Do you think this will change the perspective on cleaning our smartphones too?
I mean, I hope so. Our smartphones, even before this pandemic, carry a ton of bacteria on them. I don't know if that's really like penetrated the popular consciousness that that's a thing that happens. So I'm not sure if people's behavior will really change around smartphones, but I think in general, just being more aware of cleaning common surfaces and washing our hands is something that's definitely going to change following when this outbreak and pandemic is done.
Do you think that would you advise people to stop taking their phones into washrooms?
I don't know. That's a tough one.
I think it would be a good idea to not take your phone into a washroom bacteria-wise.
I think it's a good idea, but I think that if you tell people that, they're still probably not going to do it, to be honest.
True. Good point.
That's sort of where I'm coming from with it. But like, definitely, if you can, don't take it in the bathroom with you. That's obviously a great option.
And, how can we use technology with social isolation during this health crisis?
Yeah. So there's things like what we're doing right now. We're having a conversation over Skype. My team connects over Slack, which is a platform very similar to, it's just like a massive chat platform with different channels. That's kind of how we organize our day-to-day work. Those are two options. There's things like Google Hangouts. There's Facebook. I have a lot of friends that are setting up FaceTime calls where there's multiple people in an individual call, and they're all just hanging out, talking to each other. I think that's definitely an option as well. And then something else that I've been doing is playing a lot of video games that have a pretty big focus on the social aspect, where you're working together with friends, you're accomplishing different goals, and you're not obviously physically in the same room, but in some ways it's a substitute for that because you're still spending time together, even though it's in a virtual space.
What are your go-to apps right now?
In terms of games, I've been playing a game called Animal Crossing quite a bit, visiting my family's towns because my brother also has the game, and my partner's brother has the game as well. So that's something that we've been doing, trying to sort of connect with family. And Slack for work, we've definitely been using that quite frequently to just for like our day-to-day job, but also just to stay in touch with members of the Mobile Syrup team. And I've been calling my parents quite frequently over Facebook Messenger just to check in and chat with them and see how they're doing.
Okay. And just before we wrap up, Patrick, do you have any tips or tricks, tech wise to help us through this time? Maybe some tips or tricks that the average person might not realize. Ways that we can save battery time, or some cool things we can do with our smartphones, or...
One thing that I thought of ahead of time, just in relation to not touching your face, like in terms of using your phone, if you work the type of job where you're constantly taking calls, maybe you're always picking your smartphone up and you're putting it against your face repeatedly. Kind of a way to circumvent that is to use wireless headphones, or even just regular headphones that have a mic built into them, because then you don't have to keep picking your phone up. It's not often touching your face over and over again. You have wireless earphones in, like AirPods or something like that. So that's definitely one sort of trick that people can do if they're looking for ways to have less things touching their face.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you joining us today, Patrick. Lots of tips there. So a big thank you. And for more information from Mobile Syrup, you can visit mobilesyrup.com, and make sure to join us every Tuesday and Thursday here on TELUS Talks with Tamara Taggart, as we bring you the interviews and stories that matter most to Canadians. Bye for now.